How are you today? Uh, as you can see, I followed through on my promise, and you've now got me in, I think, 1080p. So this is kind of a test run to see how this all works for me. Um, yeah, we'll definitely see. You get a clearer idea of where I'm sitting in the computer room, things like that. But that said, there is a couple of things I want to talk about today, kind of. Um, just a quick update on what I'm up to, things like that. Vanilla Life has been kind of taking the forefront this last little bit. We ended up going to my Vanilla Christmas staff party in Winnipeg this weekend. Things went well there. Dot got to meet a bunch of my coworkers, things like that. Really, it took a lot out of us, but I do work for a great company. They took really good care of me for the Christmas and holiday season, so I can't complain. Work has just been really, really busy for us. So kink does kind of take a back seat at that point. But we have kind of decided on a few things about where we want to go, what we want to do. And that kind of brings me to the crux of what I want to talk about. Giving back to your community. It's one of those things that since I've been kind of experimenting, or I shouldn't say experimenting, but attempting to live leather, giving back is a big thing. We give back a lot to the Winnipeg community because they do give us a lot, including Mast. There's a lot of things we enjoy doing and partaking in there because where we are is a very, very small community. That said and done, we've kind of decided that we want to give back to our local community. It's been very hard for us to kind of get anything going. We do have a munch that is usually attended by the same 7 to 10 people. But for folks like us who tend to work odd hours and live odd hours, we decided we want to start up something kind of small, just do a coffee get together for those people. It doesn't necessarily have to be kink centric, just a way for people to get out, get together, get to know people, because that's how you build friends. It's how you build a community. It doesn't always have to be kink related, right? Kink is definitely the focus, but you get a bunch of gamers together and they don't necessarily always talk gaming. They don't necessarily, going to a comic book convention, it's not always comic books. Just like-minded people. So, we're going to probably put together a place. My little Faye has been looking into coffee shops that we could all sit folks down and not have, a group of people isolated over here, a group of people isolated over there at different tables or booths. That's the problem in our city. People tend to use the "I don't want to be outed" excuse, pretty much to the point of phobia. That's like, how are you going to tell what a group of people who are sitting around sharing a coffee are doing? You're not. Unless you're sitting there and actually taking the time to listen to their conversation. And if you are, you probably deserve what you get if you overhear something you don't like. No one's going to know. You're not going to have a bunch of people, I would hope, in a vanilla environment showing up in, full Leatherman's gear or full latex bodysuit, wearing dog collars, things like that. That's a completely different issue. If you're not sure how to dress appropriately for public, you might want to figure that out. As far as it goes, I think it's going to be good. It'll give us an opportunity to, kind of set things up and have another thing available for people here in town. We'd love it if it was Power Exchange centric, but we're under no illusions that it will be. We are, as I've mentioned prior to this, somewhat of an anomaly. We tend to be one of the only Power Exchange couples around here. A lot more are heavy S&M players, swingers, things like that. Giving back to your community. It doesn't have to be big. We all kind of, as a global kink community, contribute to what we get out of it. It doesn't have to be a big thing, as little as volunteering your time to work a desk at an event, or sign people up, or, start a discussion, something like that. It's little things. It doesn't have to be a huge, I donated $50,000 to start a dungeon or whatever. Just little things that if you can give back to your local community, then everyone around you benefits, and you in turn will benefit. It's something we've been thinking about, and we were scared of stepping on toes because there are two established groups here in our town. They're split one off of each other. That's a whole other boatload of drama I'm not going to get into. You know what? We said the hell with it. We are not going to be associated with either, and it's just going to be Sin and Seldom sitting down and having a coffee. And if people want to show up, great. If not, we had coffee, and that makes everything worth it. Hopefully going forward, we'll be able to fit that in along with our trips to Winnipeg and things like that. I don't think it's going to be a regularly scheduled event. More of a, we've got a free weekend coming up in 2 weeks sort of thing. We'll do a coffee. We'll post it as a FetLife event and, see if people show up. Other than that, I think, it's hard to really say, what we can and cannot accomplish here, because our community seems to be very scattered. I'm not sure I'd necessarily call it a community, to be perfectly honest, at this point. I think it's just a collection of people that get together with like interests. Hopefully we can help change that going forward, no matter what group, people decide to become affiliated with, I guess is the right word. And I'm sure I'll have more to say about it at some point. But for now, this was, just kind of my thoughts on that, and a test of the new webcam. So we'll see how long this video takes to upload to YouTube, and we'll kind of go from there. For the time being, have yourself a good night, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.